justice and freedom denied. As we celebrate almost 30 years of democracy, it feels as if this democracy that was fought for by many is being lost, and for some reason it's difficult to save it. This could be because of many circumstances that we face in South Africa. And the question remains, how many South Africans today enjoy this freedom or this democracy? As the Freedom Month comes to an end, one of the things that we realize is that injustice has been witnessed during this past 2 months. The past 2 months has been nothing but freedom denied in the hands of our justice system and politicians. The so-called Omotoso Victory and Bushiri cases are an insult, an example of what is happening to our justice system and our democracy. These two cases alone are an insult to our democracy. And this exposes the nakedness of our courts and our government, which are in a state at this point in time. From the Guptas to the Omotosos, it seems like obtaining a South African citizenship, not even a document, a citizenship has become so easy. It is a mockery to our democracy. All this has taken away the rights and freedom of our South African poor people. There are many South Africans knocking on the doors of our courts for justice today, only to be rejected and denied the justice they rightfully deserve. In Matthew 9 verse 25, Jesus speaks to his disciples about a certain persistent widow who needed justice from what he called a corrupt judge. This widow will come knocking daily at the judge's door, expecting justice until the judge conceded. But wait, did she have to come and knock so many times at his door when she deserved that justice? No, she did not have to. The moral of the story is that, just like many South Africans today, this widow lived at a time when justice and freedom were denied. This is one of the circumstances that brings us to this video today, the issue of freedom and democracy, or justice, if you want to call it. Before we make sense of anything in this video, please help subscribe, like, and share this video. We are looking for as many subscribers on this video today. Let's get talking. Cheryl Zondi brings about an issue that is disturbing, especially as we scrutinize the issue of the case of Omotoso. I'm going to try as much as possible. I don't want this video to be long, but let's listen to what Cheryl Zondi has to say after the acquittal of her abuser.
We took it upon ourselves to go through a humiliating process, to have our dignity stripped from us in public, to be called names and have lies and all sorts of fabrications spread about us online when we're walking down the street. Our lives have never been the same.
Yes, indeed. Their lives will never be the same again. Their lives will change forever. This case has really changed their lives forever. The scars, the wounds that were allowed to be inflicted in their lives will remain for as long as they live. Let's continue to watch.
After coming out about this, and one has to wonder, so this is what the last 8 years of our lives has come down to. The main concern wasn't even the knowing of what he did to us. It's knowing that he's not going to stop. He's going to continue doing this to other women and other girls. And that's what we wanted to stop. That's what we wanted to prevent. To say it ends with us and it's not going to go any further. But he's not going to stop. It's in his nature. And I feel that this is kind of enabling to him. I think things may only get worse from here. Definitely going to be more pompous and believe that this is an act of God. And it's not. I think we're all familiar with the fact that evil prevails in this world. And it's really unfortunate. I feel that we have been failed. I think I speak on behalf of all the other girls.
Do you blame her for feeling that she's been failed? Do you blame her for feeling that she can no longer trust the system? We cannot blame her for that. And remember that when she trusted a man of God. Very same man of God messed her life up, abused her, he used her, violated her in the name of the church, in the name of the gospel. Yes, in the name of him being her pastor. Violated her.
When I say we put our lives on the line, we did everything we possibly could. And we gave it our all when we spoke the truth. And I am so grateful to everyone who has contributed to this case. But we didn't study law, and even we could ask questions. Why? Why did you have minors in your house? Why wasn't your wife and your children in the house with the girls? Why were you flying women in and out of the country? Why was it just girls? Why weren't you training the boys as well?
The acquittal of Amatoso is an embarrassment to our justice system. I'm embarrassed as a South African. When the prosecutors decided not to cross-examine this false preacher, they ripped the hearts of these innocent young ladies over and over again. And listening to Ms. Zondi and seeing her tears, we must realize how painful this has been for them. This is why our people do not trust the system. This is why our people do not say anything, even if they know something. Why? Because when they decide to trust the system, she says, we took it upon ourselves to publicly expose ourselves. We gave everything, she says. In other words, the courts, the prosecutors have had everything, all the evidence, but they messed it up through incompetency. And we have, for some reason, a commission that's in charge of the judges. Let's listen to this. It's really, really crazy. Listen to it. There are judges that have been suspended for 7 years. A judge suspended for 7 years, full pay, indefinite.
7 suspended magistrates are...
Now, for me, I lay that blame squarely in front of the door of the Magistrates Commission for dragging their feet. Because you can't spend 32 million approximately on salaries of people who's actually not working. And it's simple because they have to do their internal investigation, make a recommendation to the minister. Then the minister has 7 days to act and another 14 days to then bring it to this selection committee in Parliament. And after that, another 60 days in which to actually sort of decide, are we removing or not removing? Yes, there can be spanner in the works where magistrates who is the parties that is now sort of have charged with misconduct or there's ill health or incapacity involved, that can actually bring court applications to stay the proceedings or the disciplinary proceedings against them. But you cannot tell me it takes 7 years. It means that these guys at the commission, maybe we should also look at taking away their salaries because they're not doing their jobs.
It's interesting that you place the blame squarely at the feet of this commission, because I think it needs us to understand the powers and limitations of the Magistrates Commission, because they spoke there in Parliament and indicated that among the challenges that they have is the fact that they're not a permanent body. So it means they take out of their time to congregate and then see or look at some of these matters. So that alone, would it not say here, you've got a very important structure that unfortunately is not properly capacitated. They sometimes have certain individuals that would retire. They have evidence leaders that wouldn't pitch. So there are administrative issues, as they say, that have led to these delays.
Response with such places that you should.
But then again, it comes back to, they say people retire, people not rocking up as evidence leaders. Who appoint those evidence leaders? Who appoint the people that's going to retire? You as the people there, you know already a guy is going to retire in 5 years from now or 3 years from now. Why do you give him a role to actually be an investigator or a lead person in? Then you look at, is there a colleague who can actually be here around for the duration of this case? But after all, looking at the available time periods for the commission to work, is if there's a complaint, they have time to investigate. You can't tell me you investigate these serious complaints. It takes you 6 months to investigate them. Investigate them very quickly, make a report, table it before the entire commission, and the entire commission must then make a finding as to, is this something that we need to refer to the minister, and then he refers it to Parliament.
Wow. This is incompetency at its best. Imagine that. They are saying they are not. Or not. Your job is to make sure that you capacitate the courts. You capacitate and you make sure that as an oversight body, you have the courts that are competent, that have people to work. This is not about a body or a commission that is temporary. But for 7 years, you are in there for 7 years. Is that temporary? It's not at all. It's your job to do this. But yet again, you are paid to do this, hence you feel that there is nothing that can be done to you. Nobody, even the minister, all the ministers that have come in Are you telling me that we've never seen all of this? With so many bodies giving judicial oversight, why is it that we are so failing out? And I agree with Alton. This body is in charge of magistrate, but have done nothing to capacitate the system. Judges suspended for 7 years and paid in full. Why is this failure allowed? Why is this failure allowed in South Africa? Would these young women be safe with this monster being out there? Another similar case that we find in this time is a case of Bushiri, another visitor who has just, by the way, continued mocking our justice system. Lately, he mocked the justice system just by speaking against the system itself, while a fugitive of the law, mocking the justice system in his country. Why do visitors come to this country and still feel as though they can do whatever they please? I can answer that question for you, and I'm sure you also have it in your mind as viewers. It's because they feel emboldened. They feel that they can get away with it. I mean, think about it. For years, Bushiri and his wife did as they pleased. I'm sure we still have intelligence in South Africa. Are you telling me that those in authority didn't know about Bushiri? This is a fugitive who defrauded, abused women, and misled the South African public in the name of the church, while those in authority sat and watched. Do you blame South Africans when they speak up against foreigners? We can't blame them, because they feel like they are losing a battle. They are losing their own country. Lastly, we find that we have a church. We have a church society that has been totally broken apart. We have a church that has no compassion. Take a listen. As a church, celebrate this incompetency as they celebrate their pastor being released.
Afterwards, and the congregants had continued to go to church as well as attending that trial, supporting Timothy Omotoso during the...
You hear that? The church continued as the man remained in prison. Do you tell me that the court could not stop the gatherings until everything was taken care of? Because the church, to me, had become a crime scene. It is a church controlled and given oversight by the same man who had abused women. Why is it allowed to continue? Where is the church body in South Africa? My concern is not only the silence of the church, but when the church has no sympathy for abuse victims, when the congregants celebrate the crime because they love their pastor, it is no longer the Church of Jesus Christ but a cult. The church should be angry about these events and say no. Where is a strong rebuke from the church body? Has the church lost its light? Has the church lost its saltness in society? As a church community, we need to ask ourselves, what can we do better to respond to these issues in the future? Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you all. Let me hear from your comments below, and like and subscribe to this channel. God bless until we meet again.